Now, finally, this clip aired on our national broadcaster last night, and I'm interested in your reaction to this discussion about Israeli-Palestinian relations.
Tit for tat retribution. A week before someone will do something, then the other side will retaliate. That's been going on for decades. If you zoom out, the big picture is the Israeli occupation of the West Bank. Every morning, 3 million or so Palestinians in the West Bank, it's called the West Bank because it's the West Bank of the Jordan River, wake up under a military occupation that they don't want. The Israeli soldiers are the ultimate authority over the lives of those 3 million Palestinians. So as long as that occupation continues, we will see these sorts of periodic flare-ups.
That was the Global Affairs Editor of the national broadcaster, the ABC, Mr Lyons. Rabbi, do you see that as a fair assessment?
You know, Rita, that would have been comical if it wasn't so tragic. You know, we Americans love condescending to the rest of the world, trying to feel better. Oh, my God. Mr Lyons just caters to every stereotype of utter abysmal ignorance. Let's just unpack what he said for a moment. He said it's called the West Bank because it's the West Bank of the Jordan River. Does everyone here know the Jordan River is about this wide? You could the Jordan River. It's like saying that here in the United States that California is the West Bank of the Mississippi, 1,000 miles away. The Jordan River is tiny. The West Bank is a term used instead of Judea and Samaria, the real names of these areas, in order to de-Judaize them. It's to ensure that the Jews can't claim. Remember, these areas, Judea and Samaria, are where King David was crowned in Hebron 3,000 years ago. They're where the tabernacle of Shiloh stood for 369 years. It's where 80% of all events of the Hebrew Bible take place. There is no West Bank mentioned there. Look for in the New Testament for the word West Bank. Does not exist. This is where Jesus preached, Jerusalem, etc. Okay, that's the first point. The second point is when he said that the issue is Israeli occupation. First of all, Israel won over these areas in 1967 in the defensive war. What happened to before 1967, Mr. Lyons? What happened when 1948, when five Arab nations launched a war of annihilation, saying they're going to perpetrate a second Holocaust 5 years after the first Holocaust? And Jordan controlled that area. This is a total lie. There is a conflict in the Middle East for only one reason. The reason is the oppression and brutalization of 400 million Arabs by despotic Arab regimes, because every historian knows that in the history of the world, two democracies have never, ever fought a war. Australia has never fought a war against a democracy. Australia fought in the First World War against, autocracies, and the Second World War against Hitler. Democracies don't fight. So Israel is surrounded by tyrannies. Now, why is it that a tyranny will fight a democracy? Because in a tyranny, the dictator sends your son to die. In a democracy, the people don't want their children to die. So they tell their elected leaders, make peace or we'll kick you out. Mr Lyons is an ignoramus. I challenge him here right now to a public debate at any time of his choosing. It could be his audience, it could be in Australia. I will do it from here in my office in New Jersey. I don't claim to be some great Middle Eastern historical expert, but I will eviscerate him, God willing, on the facts, not because I'm...
Well, you know what, Rabbi? I will try to tee that up. I don't know how it's going to work, whether it's whether the ABC will allow it, whether John's interested, but I am going to
the ignorance, Rita, the ignorance is just embarrassing.
Well,
his ignorance is abysmal and embarrassing.
Well,
I feel sorry for him making statements like that.
Let's put you two together and see who prevails. Rabbi, always a pleasure to speak with you. Thank you for joining me tonight.
Thank you, Rita. God bless you and all my Australian brothers and sisters.